there's a proposed DC liaison trip for CCWD 24 to 25 June. The board needs to affirm who will be leading that trip. President Bradley has requested that he be on that. So if there's discussion about other board members going, it would be good to get that calendared. The calendar at Aqua is 20 to 23 October. That happens to be in Reno. And so that's a very significant water event. And
Aqua or Olive?
I'm sorry, Olive. The American Water Works Association. The real water people. Then we have the Aqua Fall Conference that comes up in early December, so that's there for your calendars. I did want to give you a heads up that Fly-In Acres work is progressing. We've got a couple of weeks into it. So right now we're currently working in the Moran Road area. Next week they'll be moving to Lightning Lane, and then ultimately the following week they'll be moving back up to Aracrava, and then to stretch the conditions. So anyway, long story short, Fly-In, and that's an assessment district. So please remember, it's a little bit different than our other capital programs. This is the assessment district. The Fly-In Acres moving across. So we are making good progress there. We are dealing with some interesting issues in terms of traffic controls and making sure that people are aware of what's going on. And then people that are getting new water meter sites are now trying to adjust some of those sites that we thought we had earlier agreement on. So some folks it's like putting a piece of furniture in your house. Somebody wants to move it 6 inches multiple times. We're trying to deal with all those with the CSD and try to get their lead on. We also have another request which we're going to handle administratively, which is a gazebo with the White Line Park Committee has requested it to construct it. So we're looking at the impacts of that. If we see any significant impact, it's a 20 by 20 gazebo. It's consistent with their lease. We just need to review it to see if there's any other implications. Mr. Frazier has been in close contact with us this week. He's the property owner of Lake Tulloch who had the damaged sewer line. We're working with him trying to get his sewer line in and get it approved and get it in. And he's got his application into us, and his check is coming. So ultimately, I'm optimistic that within the next few weeks that situation will be corrected. We will be applying to be a water and sewer customer.
Question.
Sir.
Yeah, going back to your New Hogan Lake storage levels, do you know off the top of your head, maybe Jeff knows this, what Deadpool is for New Hogan?
Deadpool on New Hogan? No, I don't. I don't.
Well, I'm looking at this projected reservoir level, and it's down about somewhere around 15,000 acre feet. They're carrying that for August through September into October, and it seems to me it's approaching Deadpool.
15,000? I said I didn't see it.
Well, it's on this one.
It's on the graph.
Can you go back?
Watch.
Can you go back to the graph?
Oh,
Because that's the color book.
I can't do that.
There we go.
I think you get down when you see the red line there from the 70s on the bottom. I think you're probably, people that were here in the late 70s would remember that it's pretty much going to be Deadpool. The water quality is going to be so tough at that point that it's going to chew it.
Okay, so we're a good 25,000 acre feet above that right now, so it probably won't be an issue.
No, I think we're well above 15,000. Might have about 100,000 acre feet.
You're
Yeah, we're 100,000 now, we're like 93, but what I was looking at was, that projected decline will happen probably pretty much in the same kind of pattern. I was probably reading the graph along the way, so.
Well, I know that I know the bottom of the lake is ours. But,
Well, when we get to make mud buds, huh?
Well, in 96 or 7, when they had that drought, when I was on the board before, they had, I can't remember remember, but it seemed to me it was like 35,000 acre feet in the lake. The old dam was above water level, and the only people that were allowed to take any water out of the lake whatsoever was CCWD and to maintain minimum fish flows. But nobody else was taking any water.
Right now, we have, for this time, year to date, is close to 77, we have about 40,000 acre feet more. So if we follow this similar decline, we should be okay there through this year.
Well, and also, isn't stocked at least, they pull water on the Stanislaus now?
They have that ability, whether they're physically doing it today, I couldn't say.
So we're not, the bottom line is the historic.
Right, yeah. I saw that here, I just thought that was projected. But that's okay.
And I did want to just remind you, I do frequently get to the NCPA facilities meetings and attended several of their commission meetings this year. Their next commission meeting, I believe, will be in San Mateo, and I'm not going to take that one. So,
Have you got a date for their conference?
I do have a date for the conference. I don't have it on the top of my head. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have you received the application to go? The notice?
For the annual conference?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
Oh, okay. I was questioning myself the other day on that, why I hadn't received that yet. So I assume it must be coming out pretty quick.
I'm sure
I was
it's
going
coming
to
out.
you guys on pressure.
And of course, they will be having the annual meeting in Murphy's coming up in July. So, that concludes my report.
Okay, Director of Administrative Services, Mr. Mayor.
Nothing at this point.
Yeah, I don't see Mr. Curley. Is there any report from Patty? Oh, I'm sorry. Patty, do you have anything?
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Curley, does he have anything?
I covered Mr. Curley's areas.
Board reports, information, future agenda items. Director Julie, do you have any board reports? Information or future agenda items?
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to make a comment about, they read a couple of comments in the paper on what I said, and I don't always choose my terms as well as I should.
I thought it was perfect.
But I did want to just elaborate briefly that my opinion on government programs, once they get started, you never end up with what you started with. They always are morphing into more and more regulations, and so when I voted no about the sending a letter to the Senate woman, I believe it was, who about the wild and scenic, I was voting no based upon I don't have any confidence in the government starting this program and then it stops right there. It'll continue morphing into more and more and more regulations, and I have no confidence that it will remain in a desirable point. So that was my whole point about voting no on that.
Well, I thought you clearly articulated that in the newspaper article.
Okay, well, I don't regret what I said. I just said I didn't want it to be misread. You know, to say something politically incorrect, everybody knows that Noah Webster wrote the Webster Dictionary, but not everybody knew that he wrote it for his wife because she kept saying, now what does that mean? And, but anyway, that's all I wanted to say. It was my reason for voting no was because I have no confidence that that program will get started and then that's all the farther it's going to go.
It's a good thing you don't own a basketball team.
Well, I'm waiting for my offer. I love this lead, I'm sorry. I love this lead because I quoted you yesterday, Dennis, in the East Bay Mud meeting when you said not just no, but hell no with regard to wild seed. Which leads me to my report, which is that yesterday afternoon, East Bay Mud, on a 4-2-1 vote, voted to support proposal as amended on the Colony Wild and Scenic. But they emphasized the importance of continuing the dialogue. Perhaps maybe it would be a better phrase, starting the dialogue to address the issue of wild and scenic, to see if there's going to be any resolution on that issue. To that end, I made a presentation, Rich Farrington made a presentation of the 40-some-odd presentations that took place yesterday afternoon. Only 2 of us took an opposed position on that particular bill. And to add insult to injury, it was a 3-hour trip out of Oakland last night. So, I was wasted by the time I got home. That being said, Monday, the 19th, I'm going to be in Sacramento to have a conversation with Senator Lonnie Hancock, who's the author of the bill on the wild and scenic. She expressed an interest in talking with the upcountry agency since she's had no contact with him. And I think she's very much interested in seeing how, if this bill ever does get any legs and moves on, that there can be some resolution of issues revolving around what not only perceived as to be some of the questions and concerns that upcountry agencies have, but that those concerns can somehow be addressed in the bill so that if it does become law, there won't be a lot of confusion and having to go back to what I agree with. Needless to say, when East Bay Mud took the position they took, Foot of Conservancy was very upset, and Catherine had said to me at the end as we were walking out the door, I never want to speak to you. I don't know if that was a blessing in disguise or not. I didn't put it in those terms, but I'm kind of disappointed. I was, for me it wasn't necessarily win-win because, as you know, I've had a position that I felt that there's some value to wild and scenic, but it needs to be vetted and properly dealt with. And now I'm angrier than hell that those people would presume that they're in control of the process and that they can lightly ignore the interests of people who have some significant concerns. And so I hope I never talk to her again. I guess that's all I can say.
If I could jump into this related to that, because I did draft a letter that's directed by the board to take opposition and went to the extent of recommending that the senator withdraw that based upon the sentiments I heard here, which were that bill needs to be opposed as is primarily because of the way it was formulated and came about as a gut amendment out of the ether, if you will. And went to Senator Hancock's office as directed by the board to do some follow-up in order to express the idea that it should be withdrawn, and perhaps if a proposal were to be worked with the upcountry agencies, that there might be a workable piece out there. And I met with a staffer to that extent, had not had any follow-on contacts. I just wanted to make it.
I have a Brown Act question. I'd like wild and scenic, first of all, to become, much like our Bay Delta issues, an agenda item. We've had two directors speak on it already. We're not supposed to be discussing items that aren't on our agenda or coming to any conclusion about them. Where are we in regards to that at this point? I don't want to have a Brown Act violation.
You're getting director reports for activities in which they participated. And so ultimately, they can report out on what activities they participated in, even if it's the same issue over and over again.
We just don't want to bounce conversation back to each other.
Right, and then we particularly don't want to come to a conclusion or a sense of direction.
Okay,
So
just want to make sure that everyone was on on board about the rules here. I mean, we can talk about what our experience was in the past about this, but we shouldn't be bouncing dialogue back and forth about any conclusions or something that we haven't already decided. Does that sound reasonable?
That's more than reasonable. Right,
I have
anything else?
Well, yeah, except I do. On Tuesday, the 20th, State Water Resources Control Board is meeting to consider emergency minimum flow requirements for 3 of the Sacramento River tributaries. And some upcountry folks have expressed concern that it's, even though it's a State Water Resources Control Board, there might be a bit of a reach to support Delta issues and stuff. But I looked at the tributaries that are being discussed, and almost every one of them has an anadromous fish well, and as a consequence, they're probably talking about that. I don't know that that's going to impact us, but we should be aware of the fact. I don't even know that we should even bother to attend that particular meeting, because it's not going to set any precedent for us unless they start talking about San Joaquin, or they start talking about direct Delta flows. So just pointing that out as something coming down the pike. I'm done. Thanks, Jim.
Mr. Stump?
Going back to the topic, Mountain County's board voted to oppose Wild and Scenic yesterday at their board meeting, and they had a neutral position from their ledge committee based on the fact that Calaveras County supervisors are an executive member of Mountain Counties. The board determined this was important enough that we were going to vote opposed, and all that information went out this morning. One of the key factors for the decision was not only myself. I was approached by Chris Wright that he would be willing to sit down and talk to me at any time about these issues, because I was concerned that we had no opportunity to have any input in this. And then I spoke with Emerald Water, and they tried to meet with Foothill Conservancy, and in order to have discussions with them, they presented a full-page list of all of the requirements necessary to have conversations. And the first item is no part of the discussion can be shared outside the room. Now, frankly, that isn't collaborative in my mind. The idea that this has to be behind closed doors in order to even have a discussion, that shows how poorly Wild and Scenic was approached. I know, as far as Unward is concerned, that this was a topic for the Moquais, and to just throw that out the window, I'm pretty frustrated by it. Also, with Mountain Counties, this Water Commission meeting that's taking place on the 21st, that's a huge deal. To get them up into the foothills itself is really, really important. Most people don't recognize that the Water Commission drives storage. If you want to have storage project in California, it's coming through the Water Commission. So they're very, very powerful, and in a drought scenario, this is a really big deal for the mountain counties. And it was pushed much by Randy Fiorini of the Delta Stewardship Council that feels that small storage in the Sierra is a critical future need for California. So we've got not only the Water Commission, but the Delta Stewardship Council that's pushing to help us deal with storage issues up here that we cannot afford to do on our own. So I really would like to get as many people to this commission meeting explaining our needs up here. As far as Aqua is concerned, Aqua is all about groundwater. If you're down in the valley, it was a hugely popular Aqua. Every word out of everybody's mouth seemed to be groundwater. This is becoming a huge deal with the state, and recognizing that they're lining up in order to start monitoring and controlling groundwater. It's going to be a happening thing. Attached to that for us in the Mountain Counties area is they came out about 2 weeks ago with a map showing well failures in California. And I was shocked that ground zero in California for well failures are Nevada, Placer, and El Dorado County. This was, I had anecdotal evidence from people telling me about this kind of stuff, but I never realized that the foothills are getting hit so hard. The numbers are staggering. The state OES is out trying to do drought stuff right now, helping. They're in Palm County seemingly every day trying to help them with their drought scenario. But they just came out and recognized that we've got 1 million Californians on their own personal wells, and there is no plan to help those people. They haven't figured out how they can help, Joe Citizen if their well goes dry and they're on a fixed income. That is something, as far as our educational process, we have to work on in terms of helping people make good decisions regarding where they get their water. The idea that 1960 was great, my well was great, the water was great, plenty of it, that may not be what's happening in the future. And if we're not planning for that, it could really impact Calaveras County citizens. So I think that we need to start this conversation. And it's not our responsibility, but I think it is as far as the residents of Calaveras County is concerned. Went to energy. I'm on the energy committee for Aqua. This is a huge shift in terms of energy and how it takes place. NCPA sits at the table with me on energy, Pacific Gas and Electric. And I have to tell you that in past years, these big guys, they were driving the bus. They were running the show. They would make a proposal and everybody would nod their head real quick. This is the first year where the Aqua Energy Committee said, thank you for your input. You can sit down now. I think Edison had 9 representatives there. They see the water energy nexus as changing real fast, and they're having a hard time keeping up with it. What it really means is not only the Aqua Energy Committee, but others in California are really having an impact on how things are going to change, how the rules are going to change, that energy takes place in California. It's a pretty dramatic, I would expect about a 5-year changeover in terms of how it's going to start affecting people in California, but it is changing. The last thing I wanted to talk about was a presentation I listened to on iBank. I never even heard of iBank. iBank is the state's bank, and they have 3 programs, and one key for us is infrastructure. So for money and bonds, this is somebody that we need to be talking to every time just to see what they can help us with, or if they can help us with it. If nothing else, it gives us a roadmap in terms of what is going to be the best deal for us. So I'd like to see iBank involved with any decisions made regarding bonding or loans that we may be going out after. And that's it.
All right.
Now, if I'd like real quick, with regard to that iBank, remember the guy said you could leverage state funds for state funds, which is a unique.
Yeah, there's huge options that I never even heard about.
I don't want to borrow it.
My comments are, I also was able to go down to Aqua for a couple days. Certainly groundwater is going to be, it was very clear that Aqua taking a role in regulating groundwater is going to be at least as controversial as the Delta plant. Private property owners and the like, or it's just going to be a big giant mess. But it also, I mean, the integration between groundwater and surface water is I mean, we have to utilize our surface water better to protect the groundwater basin. How they do that, I have no idea. That's going to be tough. I do want to request that we begin to have a wild and scenic designation on our agenda so we can give reports about it. I also think we should be asking our Board of Supervisors to reconsider the decision of Wild and Scenic. I feel that we, first of all, won't give them any time to have a leadership role in this, but, there's just been, as far as I know, we've just been, talking one-on-one with a handful of supervisors here and there, and there's been no public dialogue. The public has been included in, other than at our meetings, but there's been no mutual discussion about this. And it's one thing for us to criticize the Board of Supervisors for not talking to us, but we're not really formally talking to them either. And I think that we're at fault in that, and we need to correct that. And then also, Bob, I thought I heard you say that you had set up a meeting to discuss Wild and Scenic with Senator Hancock. I'm troubled with that, because I don't know that, I prefer our general manager to be the person that do that. I'm sure you do a fine job, I understand your point of view, but I don't know that if the board member has authority to talk on behalf of the board. I don't know if that's the proper thing to do. So, I have some concerns with that, maybe we can talk with the general manager about that, but, I feel like Senator Hancock is cherry picking the individuals. That's certainly what I was told at Aqua. And I don't know that I don't mind us having a discussion to see if you're the appropriate person to speak on behalf of the board, but I don't know that.
Well, she actually approached me for recommendations you spent me. I'm just basically the entry point on that one.
Okay, I'm just, I would rather you have a discussion with Mitch about that.
Sure.
And find out if that's the proper
No, it's fine.
thing to do or not. It's no, I know you stand on it, and I think you do a fine job, but I have a little bit of concern when we have board members going off into what I think maybe a staff should be, because we've already given our general manager direction. And I think that she should be talking to our general manager, because he represents the whole of the board. And I think that that's the appropriate thing to do, but we can have a discussion about that. So that's the end of that. We have our next board meetings will be Wednesday, May 28th, 2014 at 9 a.m. We will be adjourning into closed session after a short break. We're having a 12-day conference with the real property negotiators. Government Code 54956.8 covers cement slurry line right-of-way acquisition. CCWD negotiators Mitch, Dion, Paradigm, for negotiation price, terms of payment. Is there any public comment about closed session? Okay, seeing none, we will have a short recess and reconvene in closed session.